everybody, to the It's Never Too Late show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a life and love transformational coach at Your Next Amazing Story. I am so excited because we have an amazing guest today, Betty Jean Bell, and she is an You Are Enough confidence coach. And today we're talking about it's never too late to heal your relationship with food and love your body. So welcome, Betty Jean. I'm super excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I love your show and I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, so before we jump into this topic about, healing your relationship with food and loving your body, can you share with the ladies how you became a You Are Enough confidence coach?
Yeah, well, for me, it started really early. When I was 4 years old, I started singing opera and I knew that's what I always wanted to do with my life. And so I studied hard and that was kind of my thing. And then when I was 11 years old and my body started to develop, some boys at school who I now know had a crush on me, but they started verbally abusing me and calling me fat and ugly and leaving all through high school. These boys would abuse me. It was a whole group of them that would pick on me about my body. And so at that time, I made two correlations, and one of them was food. I would use food to deal with my emotions because I didn't know how to tell anybody. So I never told anybody about what was happening to me, not wait later until I was 19 years old. And so I was using food to cope with all of this. And in addition, I also believed early on that if I ever wanted to be loved or liked, I needed to look different. And the other coping mechanism for me was my opera singing, my career, what I thought was my purpose, my direction. Because I was like, man, if I just sing hard and I go to a school and I'm going to be a famous opera singer and I'll get out of all of this. Mm-hmm. I felt like it was that success was my safety. It was my ticket to safety. So I made these early correlations that food is comfort, but if I want love, I have to look a certain way. And if I want to be safe, I need to be successful. And then when I was 17 years old, I ended up getting severe acid reflux and losing my voice. And they said, you'll never sing again. They said, you'll never speak again, let alone sing. Mm-hmm. I ended up having a major reconstructive surgery, doing 5 years of voice pathology to learn to speak without pain. But I was never able to sing again. So I'd lost that connection, that I didn't know what to do with myself. I'd lost my identity, my purpose. And I really doubled down on the food. So over the next 10 years, I spent time trying to figure out what to do with my life. All of this time, I'm using food to cope with all of this stuff that I'm trying to, overcome, and believing I'm enough and wanting love, but never getting it, always dating these really not great guys because I had all these conditions. Like for me to be happy, I believed I had to have perfect, purposeful work, and I needed to be a successful entrepreneur, and I needed to be a certain dress size for a man to want to love and marry me. And God forbid, I better have my head straight because no man's ever going to want to date a broken girl. And all this time, the food and the weight issue was just a big issue for me. And so all of that kind of came to a head when I turned 33. I had felt like I'd done everything, pursuing all of these things, and was never able to accomplish it. Mm-hmm. And I nearly ended my own life. But a well-timed call from my dad helped me make a different decision. But that's what set me on this path to where I am today. I realized, gosh, if that's what I'm really considering, what would happen if I just figured out what lit me up from the inside out? Like, what if I was enough right now and I just stopped caring what other people thought? And that's when everything started to change. I've now been engaged. I'm engaged. I've been with a guy, a great guy. I have a business I love. The weight and all the health issues just kind of fell away. So that's how I ended up to where I am today. That was a very condensed version of a long story.
Well, and also I see that this has become your passion to help other women, because I'm sure it crossed your mind in this process that I can't be the only woman that feels this way, right?
Yeah. Well, it really happened. I started doing this work because so many friends and family and people had seen me 6-8 dress sizes bigger. Mm-hmm. And we always, everyone looks on the outside, right? They judge people based on highlight reels and how we look. And I'd been sick. Everyone knew me. I had so many diagnoses. I was so sick for so long. And all of a sudden, in my mid-30s, I'm trim, I'm not sick anymore from all these quote unquote incurable illnesses. I have this amazing guy. I've got this flourishing business. And they're just like, all right, what happened, Betty Jean? You got to tell me. And that's when I really started learning. I always felt very insecure. I thought I was the only broken one. I really, really thought that I was just a mess and everybody else had it together. But it wasn't until women started approaching me and really telling me their truth, like in secret, like whispering to me, how'd you do it? Because I'm struggling here. And that's when I started to realize, oh my gosh, it's like almost every woman I meet has some version of this.
Well, so Betty Jean, I want to jump into how a woman can love her body because that's very key. But wait, time. No, I just realized I went the wrong way. Sorry. Okay.
No, you're good. No apologies. You're perfect.
3, 2, 1. Okay. So, Betty Jean, before we jump into how a woman can love her body, I want to talk about how can a woman heal her relationship with food? Because that's, I believe, and I don't know if you believe this too, I feel like that's the first step.
Yeah, that's a really good gateway. It really depends on the woman, but often the one thing that I think has the biggest impact on food, healing one's relationship with food, is the illusion of control. We often think, oh my God, I just need to get control of my eating. Oh, I can eat so great during the day, but then I come home at night and I eat like a maniac because I'm tired. I don't want to make food. I just order a pizza with me and the kids, or it's the weekend. Maybe do great during the week, but during the weekend, you're just like, oh, you just want to relax and kind of do whatever. And women really beat themselves up about it. And they just feel like, why is it that I can do really great in the morning and then I'm so out of control and I just need to get control or find a diet that I can live with that fits for me. And what I believe the issue is that we are looking outside of ourselves for an answer in diets, in control, in some sort of give me a tool or a hack or a mechanism that will help me get control of my eating. Mm-hmm. And I have found that it's the actual control, that white knuckling, that compels us to overeat, that compels us to lose control with food. Because we're like, it's this idea that it has to be this way. Like, this is only going to work. I'm only going to lose weight if I work really hard, if I train really hard, if I just eat a whole lot less, or whatever beliefs we have. And there's this like white knuckling stuff that kind of makes it like, those are the bad foods. And then these are the good foods. And I'm only a good girl if I eat the good things. And then sometimes I have treats, right? And like, I'm being bad. But the more we try to control and label these things, the more out of control we get. But when we come at it as, and that's also and really that's a good picture of when we feel like we're out of control in some way, we often believe that we are deficient. We're coming from this place of I'm broken, I need fixing, I'm not enough, like I have this wrong. Mm-hmm. When really, when we just take just a great big breath, because often when we feel like we're trying to control or we feel like we're broken, like our physical body gets super restricted. I hear it in women's voices. Being an opera singer, I always hear everybody's voices. So when a woman's talking to me and she's like, oh, I did it again. Like I can hear the stress in her chest, in her back, in her shoulders, and in her vocal cords. It's like super tight. And so it's really just the idea of what would happen if you just think to yourself, you know what? It's just a freaking cookie. They're just Doritos, right? And you can actually think about it like on a vocal standpoint, which is so funny. I never talk about vocal stuff, but like it's here today. Like, mm-hmm. But when you think about the actual breath of going, and like making that sound, like your shoulders relax, your back relaxes, your vocal cords relax, every part of you relaxes. And it also kind of believes like, I'm good. Like, I just want to feel good. I just want to be happy. I just want to relax. And a lot of the time, women will associate happiness or something or comfort or love or whatever with food. Mm-hmm. When really it's just there's a feeling of safety, of enoughness that they're actually craving, of comfort, of love or whatever. So I believe one of the best ways to get control of eating, And to heal that relationship with food is by having a deep dive into awareness around where we're trying to control and what meanings we're assigning to that control, what labels, because there are no bad foods. There are no good foods. Like, I was sick with serious illnesses for most of my life. And those serious illnesses required me to eat certain ways in order to heal. And a lot was at stake, right? But if we have this concept, this idea like, oh, there's a lot at stake here. I need to get control of this. Again, it's that tension, and it's that the very fact that we're trying to control it so hard, it's like holding sand.
Yeah.
And it just slips through our fingers. But when we just relax and we just put our hand in a little cup and like, hey, I got this, then we can actually hold the sand. And so it's the same with our food. There can be a lot at stake. But if we can just relax and recognize I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing exactly what I'm supposed to do, doing the best I absolutely can, just that, just letting go of control actually gives us control. It's the craziest mind twist, but it's the biggest thing I found to work.
So, and I love that you say that, because I totally agree with you. But what are your thoughts then on when people diet? I mean, if someone says, you know what, that's great, Betty Jean, but you know what, I need to lose some weight. And I need to lose whatever it is, 20 pounds, whatever it is, 10 pounds. I don't care what it is. Then it's just a number. But she says, I need to lose it. So I need to go on a diet. What do you say to that?
Oh, I love that. I love talking about that. So in my program, we have a 97% success rate with weight loss. And in the industry, they did this huge, a whole comprehensive, I think it was 2016 or 2017, they did this huge study on the entire weight loss industry. I mean, like everything from grocery store stuff to like commercial things like Weight Watchers, like all the stuff. And what they found is 80% of people fail. That is 8 out of 10 people listening to this right now have tried probably multiple diets and failed. In my program, 100, all of the women are eating entirely different dietary theories, but we have a 97% success rate, which means that more than 9 out of 10 women lose weight. They hit their weight goal that they came in with. And that's pretty significant. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with diets. It depends on the diet. I mean, there are some diets that I'm like, don't do it.
Right.
But I do believe in dietary theories, because a lot of different dietary theories, like, they're based in sound science. What I don't believe in is one diet for all people.
Right.
I don't believe there's a secret weight loss diet. I don't care if someone wants to be keto, if they want to be paleo, if they want to be vegetarian. Like, it doesn't matter. But what matters is asking ourselves this question: what do I need right now to feel mentally, emotionally, and physically well? It's learning how to make feeling good and what physically feeling good is for each unique body. That has to be the guiding light. Some women thrive on keto. They feel so good. And others feel very sick on keto. They don't feel good. And it's the true for every dietary theory. So I don't encourage any specific dietary theory. I think wanting to lose weight is a loving thing. Like, when we want to have more energy, we want to improve our health. But I feel like when we apply control to sticking the energy and the thought process of control to attempting to stick to a dietary theory, it slips through our hands, because suddenly we're putting things in the good box, the bad box, the treat box. Oh, I was bad. I'm keto, but I had a cookie and I'm so bad, you know? And that's what makes us perpetually crave the cookie when you're trying to eat keto.
Right.
So I don't think it matters the dietary theory wants to choose. Dietary theories, diets, these are actions. And I know from listening to your podcast that you agree with this as well. The healing isn't in the actions. The actions are helpful tools, but the healing is in the mindset.
Yeah.
It's in seeing yourself differently, because our thoughts create our feelings create our actions, and our actions are what create our outcome. So it depends on The people who are successful long-term with diets often have the right mindset. It's not actually the diet. It's just they got their head right. They had the click and now they can do it. And so I think in whatever diet a woman wants to do, she still has to learn how to surrender and stop beating herself up for everything, really, but especially for the cookies or whatever it is when they slip off course or whatever.
Right. No, that totally makes sense. I mean, I totally agree with you. So now let's talk about our bodies, which I can hear everyone in my audience going, ugh. I swear to God, I haven't met one woman that is happy with every single part of her body. There's always one woman that hates one part of her body, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's, honestly, I think it's totally normal. But how can a woman fall back in love with her body? Because here's what I find as a life and love coach for women in midlife is that a lot of women will say to me, well, Suzanne, before I get out there and date, I just want to lose 10 pounds or whatever number of pounds, right? And I always say to them, don't wait to lose weight to date. That almost sounds like a rhyme, right?
It does. I was like, that's a really good thing. You should totally make that a principle.
But it's so true because here's the thing that I believe, and you can tell me obviously if you agree or disagree, is that you first need to fall in love with your body and be comfortable with your body and how it looks, and before any man can love your body. Because if you don't love your body, then how can you expect a man to accept your body and love your body and love you? Because when you don't even love yourself, right? Yeah. And so my question for you is, I know you have 5 ways that a woman can fall in love with her body again. Can you share with us what those things are? Because now every woman is going, okay, I get it. Now tell me how to do it.
I get it. Well, I completely agree with you, especially when it comes to dating. But when we put conditions on our body, when we're putting conditions on love in general, that's not love. That we want to be loved unconditionally, yet we're putting conditions on this. Like, I want a man who just loves me the way I am in all my seasons. Oh, but I got to lose 10 pounds before I attract him. It's like, wait a second. If you have to lose 10 pounds to attract your ideal guy who will love you in all your seasons, you're not going to get that. You're going to get a guy who loves you because you're 10 pounds lighter, because that's who you are. That's the vibration. That's what you're putting out there energetically. I've been there. I believed that. And I got the kind of like textbook hot. I did all these photos and I was like this itty bitty thing that worked out way too much and ate way too little. And all I attracted were these guys who valued me because of how I looked. And if anything changed about me, it was awful. It was a terrible feeling. My now fiance met me when my energy had changed, but I was at my physical biggest, because I hadn't healed. I was sicker. And now, like, I've just gotten better with age. And I'm like, that's why he deserves me, is because he loved me when I didn't have any of the things that I have now. So I think understanding that and kind of breaking that down into how a woman can start loving her body. I had kind of put the food and the body stuff together, but I would say the surrendering control, it becomes surrendering conditions. Spending time paying attention. What are all these conditions? When we want to be loved unconditionally, that means we have to love ourselves unconditionally. Yes. So step 1 is spending time, like working with someone like you, spending time building awareness around, what conditions am I putting on myself? Saying, I can't love myself until X happens, X happens, X happens. And spending some time building some awareness around those, writing down a list and bringing those to the light. And then step 2 is letting yourself off the hook. Like looking at all these conditions and really kind of going Byron Katie on it a little bit and asking yourself, I'm saying I'm not lovable. I'm not going to love myself. It's turning it around. I believe a man's not going to love me until I'm 10 pounds lighter. turn it around. I'm saying I can't love me until I'm 10 pounds lighter. Is that true? And it's not, because you're like, no, I want to love me now, right? That's the
Yeah.
truth of it. We want to feel loved now by
Mm-hmm.
ourselves and by other people. So I think it's really like, oh, that's not true. I am enough right now. And so it's deep diving into letting yourself off the hook with all these conditions. And Reagan's like, I don't want to be loved conditionally. I want to be loved unconditionally. And that starts with me.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of step 2. And then kind of an energy to carry with us would be step 3. So here, originally when I was making my notes, I wrote, it's just food.
Mm-hmm.
So it's saying to yourself, when you catch yourself slipping back into those mindsets into the conditional mindsets, it's saying, dude, it's just 10 pounds. It's just whatever. It's recognizing that the energy of just learning to relax about food, learning to relax about our bodies, not trying to love it, it's more like neutrality, not trying to love it more, but not hating it, just recognizing, hey, this is where I'm at. I'm in the right place at the right time. It's just fat, right? And fat's actually an endocrine organ. Our body doesn't drop endocrine organs willy-nilly. Like they're creating hormones for us. They're protecting our bodies from toxins. A lot of our fat cells are toxic fat cells. I'm not going to go into science here, but I am saying like these fat cells aren't these stubborn things that the industry likes to show us. They are serving a physical function. And for many women, fat is actually body fat is the protection. It's the armor she's put on between her and the world because she doesn't feel safe. And we eat foods. Like, what is the relationship you have with food? Is it love? Is it safety? Is it, I miss my parents and we used to always have donuts when they were here? Like, food plays these roles. And often that 5 or 10 pounds that women stress so much about, that's a date night. That's pizza with your kids. That's the comfort food you ate when you missed your parents. Like, this stuff means things. So it's really learning to just, hey, this is just food. Hey, it's just fat. Like, paying attention to the meanings we're assigning things and learning to let ourselves off the hook. Step 4 would be, I almost want to jump. I was going to make this step 5, but I'm going to make it step 4. I would say working with a coach. Like, you're working with all these gals, like anybody who's not working with you right now, women can't figure this stuff out by themselves. Nobody can. We cannot see our own eyeballs straight up. And it cracks me up too, because like people think, like, we look at sports teams, right? And we see people in the NBA and we see Tiger Woods and all these people being like these amazing sports people. They have coaches for every aspect of their life. They have a coach for their swing. They have a coach for the champion's mindset. They have a coach for everything. And we think, oh, yes, of course they do. They are a professional athlete. Your life is more important than a golf ball. Seriously. Yeah. Nobody can be a champion by themselves. We have to get help to see these correlations, because even if you can see them, they might, when you're sitting there examining them by yourself, they might cause you to go into an emotional spiral. Right. Because by yourself, you can't reframe it, or you're having you can't see things differently all by yourself. So I think having professional support to help you see that you are enough is really massive. And then number 5 is, I genuinely believe that we are the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. That means podcasts we listen to, people we hang out with, everything. And often our family and coworkers, these are amazing human beings, but they aren't the kind of people, they aren't on the same path as you. And often you guys, we all share the same vices or the same struggles or the same tumultuous history with those folks. So I feel like being in an immersive setting with people who are on that same path, working towards the same goal, who get it, and who are just delusional enough together to believe in the impossible, to believe in something that you haven't created before. And I feel like when you put all of that together, being around women who genuinely believe, dang it, I'm going to learn to see myself with love, or I'm going to attract this amazing guy and I'm going to feel like enough. Having the coach and the guidance to help you see those blind spots and reframe. And then doing those three things that we talked about before, the surrendering control, looking at your triggers where you don't think, the conditions you're putting on your body and your life, and then learning to just surrender that. Hey, it's just food. Hey, it's just body weight. I think that's a real recipe for creating that transformation of being able to genuinely see yourself with love, but not even trying to love it more, not trying to hate it, just coming from this place of I am enough, this neutral place.
Yeah. And what I always say, and you basically said it with all the things that you shared, is I always say it begins from within, right? You can lose that weight, but if you don't work on the inner stuff, it doesn't matter if you lose the weight because you're still carrying around that burden of whether you don't like yourself, you don't like your body, you're not happy with life in general, whatever it is, or in relationships, it's you got to work on the inner stuff because you got to be whole inside. It has nothing to do with the weight.
Totally. And I've actually had a lot of clients who I've gotten to work with over the years, because I've been doing this particular work for about 4 years. Mm-hmm. And some gals come to the program who are already at their goal weight.
Yeah.
And then they got here and they're like, oh, I thought I would feel better, but I look in the mirror and I still hate what I see. Because when we're putting conditions on our body, it's a moving target. We have built the neural pathways to look for what's wrong. We haven't built the neural pathways to constantly celebrate ourselves and look for what's right. That could be like step 6. That's something big that we do in my program. It's just like building the pathways to celebrate and look at what's right every single day.
Awesome. Well, this has been amazing. So, Betty Jean, can you share with the ladies how they can find you?
Yeah, you can always find me at beingbadass.com. And if you are into Instagram, you can find me on Instagram at beingbadass.
Awesome. So ladies, go find her because she's got a wealth of information and she can help you love your body again and truly transform your life. So thanks everybody for joining us on the It's Never Too Late show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you would like to view either, you can go to yournextamazingstory.com. And if you would like to get our free ebook, How to Create Your Next Amazing Love Story in 3 Simple Steps, you can go to yournextamazingstory.com or you can click right here on the video.